So we've already reviewed the 8 parts of speech. We're going to spend a little bit of time talking about prepositions in case we don't remember these. And I know long ago you in either 4th or 5th grade had to memorize these, but if you haven't used them in a while, it's probably not something that you use every day or have to just make a list of randomly or say. So we're going to do a little recap. I do have this broken into 3 different lists, and I am going to have you work over the course of the next 2 weeks in memorizing them. And I think by doing that, it's going to make it a little easier for you to find them in sentences, because once you can find them in sentences, it's a lot easier to find the subject and the verb, to rule out dependent clauses, and so they are just a necessary thing. So the first set of words starts with A's, ends with the F's, and there are 24 of them. And this is going to be your first quiz. The next list are the rest of them that are single words from I to W. And then the third list are prepositions that are already kind of in a phrase by themselves. We think of according to as a preposition. In addition to, even though it's 3 little words, they act as one. Okay, so this is something we're going to glue in your interactive notebook, and you need to start studying. And you can consult my website to figure out when those quizzes are going to be. So prepositions, we have to know what a preposition is and understand what its purpose is in a sentence before we can find them. A preposition is a word that shows a relationship between a noun and another word in the sentence. If we look at the sentence here, on Saturday, I'm going to the beach. I've highlighted 2 different prepositional phrases. One thing about prepositional phrases is you can take them out of the sentence. And if I did that, I'm left with I'm going. That is a complete sentence. It's got a subject, who it's about, I, and what am I doing? Am going. Now, unfortunately, it's not very descriptive. So that's why we need prepositional phrases. They add description. On Saturday shows a relationship between when I'm going and the noun Saturday. When am I going? On Saturday. In this prepositional phrase, to the beach, the word beach shows a relationship with where I'm going, to the beach. So prepositional phrase compares a noun to another word in the sentence. Now, just like in math, we have formulas that can help us identify or recognize or find all the different areas of a circle or a rectangle, and we don't need to memorize all the areas and all the circumferences. We have one formula that works for everything. And so we can do the same thing here. If we can learn this one formula, we can find and write any prepositional phrase that exists. So the first thing is a preposition. We're going to memorize them. There is a set list of them, and so it is easy to be able to memorize and be able to identify them. So prepositional phrase, think of its name, it has to start with a preposition. On. In the middle, we're allowed to have modifiers, and we've talked about modifiers. Those are adjectives and adverbs that describe. So some describing words here, the and small and round. They have to describe a noun or a pronoun. And that noun or pronoun has a special job in that sentence. It's called the object of the preposition. And so in this sentence, it's on the small round table is the noun. You'll notice there are no verbs. You're not allowed to have a verb in the middle. If you did see a verb in the middle, then it's doing something else. And we know it's not a preposition anymore. So why do we need them? What do they do? Well, if we go back to our example sentence, we said if it was just I'm going, that isn't a very descriptive sentence. So we use this prepositional phrase to show when and where I'm going. We know that when we answer when and where as questions and we modify verbs, then we have an adverb. So instead of one word as an adverb, we have a prepositional phrase that's doing the job of an adverb. All adverbs do are modify verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. So if this phrase is modifying a verb, then it's acting like an adverb. Same thing with to the beach. To the beach is telling where I'm going. It's modifying a verb, so it's acting like an adverb. So you have some example sentences, and we're in section 1A. They're going to be, I've divided this into, I think, 3 different parts because there are little confusion things, maybe 4, that can come along with prepositions. So for this first section, I want you to go through. You're probably going to have to use your list unless you memorized or still remember all of them. And we're going to use that formula to find prepositional phrases. So we look in a sentence, some jewel beetles are attracted to forest fires. I know which word is the preposition because I have it memorized. If I didn't, there are certain words I can rule out. For example, I know that jewel and beetles aren't prepositions. I know forest and fires aren't prepositions. So I can do some process of elimination. I know that to is the preposition. Now I got to find the noun that comes after it. To what? Now I do see a noun here that says to forest. But I don't think that the jewel beetles are attracted to forest. I think that phrase goes a little farther. To what? To forest fires. In this case, forest is acting like an adjective. It's describing what kind of fire? A forest fire. So it's a modifier. And so my prepositional phrase is to forest fires. They can sense a forest fire from 30 miles. Looking at my process of elimination, or if I just know it, I know that from is the preposition. Now I'm thinking of they can sense a forest fire from what? From 30 miles. You can almost hear how a prepositional phrase goes together. Those words need to stay together. So what I'd like for you to do is finish doing these examples. See if you can't figure out what they're describing. In this case, to forest fires is describing where they're attracted. So it's acting like an adverb. They can sense a forest fire from 30 miles. They can sense it from where? From 30 miles. It's going back and describing this verb. So again, it's acting like an adverb. So go ahead and try 1 through 10. When you're done, I want you to bring your paper up for me to check.